Our post-debate special continues here on Newsmax TV. I'm J.D. Hayworth. We thank you for spending your time with us. You know, Donald Trump's comments about barring Muslim immigration to the United States caused quite a stir leading up to tonight's debate. But how much of a role did those comments actually play during tonight's discussion? For more, let's bring in via Skype from Arizona, Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. He's the founder and president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. He is also a Navy veteran, and he served as a practicing physician at the U.S. Capitol. That's where I first got to know him during my days in the House of Representatives. Zuhdi, very quickly, first of all, your overall impressions of the debate tonight. Who was a winner and who was a loser in your mind?
Well, I think overall I was disappointed in that I didn't see any candidates laying out a doctrine of how we can, because the winds of change will go across the Middle East, and we don't know what's going to happen in 2017 on, so the debate is an opportunity to see what each candidate's vision or their doctrine would be. And none of them really laid that out pretty clearly, but I think, again, Rubio, Fiorina proved that they really have a better mastery of the complex situation between ISIS, Assad, Iran, Iraq, and all of the players, and I think others did not lay out as clear a need for strategy. I think Bush did lay out a strategy, and he did much better in foreign policy than he has before as far as articulating some clarity. But
Zuhdi, pardon the interruption, but we're up against the clock, and I want to get to a couple of comments made tonight. You know, during your time at the Capitol, you worked on both members of the House and the Senate, and I want to concentrate on two senators. You mentioned Marco Rubio. Let's listen to how he documented the way we need to deal with radical Islamic terror.
We must deal frontally with this threat of radical Islamists, especially from ISIS. This is the most sophisticated terror group that has ever threatened the world or the United States of America. They are actively recruiting Americans. The attacker in San Bernardino was an American citizen, born and raised in this country. He was a health inspector, had a newborn child, and left all that behind to kill 14 people. We also understand that this is a group that's growing in its governance of territory. It's not just Iraq and Syria. They are now a predominant group in Libya. They are beginning to pop up in Afghanistan. They are increasingly involved now in attacks in Yemen. They have Jordan in their sights. This group needs to be confronted with serious proposals. And this is a very significant threat we face, and the president has left us unsafe. He spoke the other night to the American people to reassure us. I wish he hadn't spoken at all. He made things worse.
So, in your mind, Zuhdi, did that capture the Rubio doctrine, if you will, and take the required comparison with the current commander-in-chief?
Well, I really think it did as far as ISIS is concerned, and I think he also nailed it as far as ideology. One of the candidates, I think it was Mr. Trump, mentioned turning off the internet, which is almost surrender to ISIS, versus, as you heard from Senator Rubio, he clearly lays out that we have to have a multi-pronged approach. Fiorina talked about engaging technology. I think there are those who are laying out the fact that beyond the territory, beyond the military component, there's an ideological component, and it includes engaging Muslims who believe in reform on our side.
Zuhdi, another U.S. Senator, Ted Cruz, part of tonight's debate. Here's what he had to say. Let's listen and get your reaction.
I'm reminded of what FDR's grandfather said. He said, all horse thieves are Democrats, but not all Democrats are horse thieves. In this instance, there are millions of peaceful Muslims across the world in countries like India, where there is not the problems we are seeing in nations that are controlled, have territory controlled by Al-Qaeda or ISIS, and we should direct at the problem, focus on the problem, and defeat radical Islamic terrorism. It's not a war on a faith, it's a war on a political and theocratic ideology that seeks to murder us.
30 seconds, Dr. Jasser, your take on Ted Cruz.
He articulated it perfectly. I could not have said it better myself. I think he laid out clearly the way Muslims can be part of the solution. I will tell you, though, his other answer when asked about dictators versus democracy, he missed an opportunity to say that we need to advance democracy. He basically defended the status quo. So I hope he amends and fixes those comments about not supporting dictators, but rather supporting revolutions towards democracy.
Well, one thing you can do in a legislative body is revise and extend your remarks. Perhaps he will do that in the days ahead. Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, we thank you so much for your time. There is more to come on our Newsmax TV special. A reminder, you can let us know who won tonight's debate by